This is the event where Yulong and Yangmiemie showed the world the reason why. What could make an entire audience fall silent, not because of scandal or shock, but because of something so powerful, so pure, that even the cameras seemed hesitant to blink. On a crisp autumn evening in Shanghai, under the glittering chandeliers of the 2025 Asia Arts Gala, Yulong and Yangmiemie did something no one expected. They didn't just walk the red carpet. They didn't just perform. They showed the world why love, real, unbreakable love, still matters. Hold on tight, C-drama family. The world of your favorite celebrities is unfolding before your eyes, and every moment is more breathtaking than the last. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. The moment that stopped time the evening was already dazzling. Dozens of celebrities had arrived, shimmering gowns, tailored suits, photographers shouting names in flashes of light. And then, the doors opened. The music softened. A hush rolled through the crowd like a wave. Yulong appeared first, dressed in a perfectly fitted black velvet tuxedo. But it wasn't his attire that caught everyone's attention, it was the way he extended his hand behind him. A hand reached forward. And there she was, Yangmiemie. Her gown was a masterpiece, an ethereal cascade of silver and rose that seemed to breathe with every step. Her eyes sparkled with something gentler than fame. Something deeper. They didn't pose for the cameras right away. They simply looked at each other, and smiled. That was the moment. The one that made headlines, rewrote gossip, and melted even the coldest critics. Because for years, they had been surrounded by speculation, separation rumors, and whispers of tension. But now, here they were, hand in hand, eyes locked, proving every story wrong without saying a word. The unexpected performance later that night, the lights dimmed once more. The host announced, a surprise performance, dedicated to truth, courage, and love. The stage illuminated to reveal Yulong at a piano, something no one had expected. He hadn't performed live in years. And then, the melody began, soft, haunting, familiar. Moments later, Yangmiemie stepped into the light, microphone in hand, her voice tender as silk. The song? Their original duet, Where We Belong, the theme from their breakout drama 5 years ago. The drama that first brought them together. The song that once symbolized fiction, now reborn as reality. As she sang, Yulong looked up from the piano, his expression unguarded, eyes glistening. By the final verse, she walked toward him. He rose, took her hand, and together they finished the song in perfect harmony. And when it ended, the entire hall rose in a standing ovation. The meaning behind it all backstage, when asked what the performance meant, Yangmiemie smiled through tears. This wasn't a performance, she said softly. It was our truth. Every lyric came from who we were, and who we still are. Yulong added quietly beside her, sometimes love isn't about the loud moments. It's about surviving the quiet ones together, the ones no one sees. That single line would be quoted in magazines, shared across social media, and printed on fan posters for weeks to come. The reason why they still believe for years, the couple had faced challenges, long-distance filming schedules, industry gossip, and the kind of fame that tests every emotion. They had stayed private, silent, graceful. But this night was different. It was their declaration, subtle, dignified, and utterly real. During the final part of the gala, Yulong was invited on stage to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. As the crowd applauded, he turned toward the audience, then toward her. Every award, every role, every applause means nothing if you don't have someone who reminds you why you began, he said. Mei Mei has been that reason, not just for my work, but for my life. Gasps. Cheers. And then, tears. Even Yangmiemie, usually composed, covered her mouth, her eyes shimmering as the audience chanted her name. In that moment, there were no rumors left. No doubts. Only truth. After the lights faded when the event ended, the photographers waited for the usual post-gala red carpet exit. But Yulong and Yangmiemie didn't walk out under the flash of cameras. They slipped out quietly through the back garden, hand in hand, away from the spotlight. A journalist caught a distant glimpse of them, standing beneath the lanterns, laughing softly. He later wrote, "It was strange. In a night full of glamour, the most beautiful moment was the one no one was supposed to see." The morning after by dawn, the internet was ablaze. Clips of their duet flooded every platform. Headlines read, "Yulong and Yangmiemie, love that defied time. The gala that turned into a love story. This is why they'll always be the standard." Even veteran entertainers commented, "They reminded us what artistry really means, sincerity. That wasn't PR. That was poetry." And amid all the noise, Yangmiemie herself posted one message online. A simple photo, their hands intertwined, with the caption, "We didn't plan to prove anything. We just wanted to remember why we started." Yulong reposted it minutes later with one line, "Now the world knows." The reason why in the end, it wasn't the fashion, the music, or even the applause that defined that night. It was two people who had weathered the storm of fame, who had faced every whisper, and who still chose each other, over and over again. Because that's the real reason they showed the world. Not for headlines. Not for rumors. But to remind everyone watching that love, when it's true, doesn't fade with time. It deepens. It steadies. It endures. And on that stage in Shanghai, Yulong and Yangmiemie didn't just show the world who they were. They showed the world why love, real, raw, and unshakable, will always be worth believing in. The escape that no one expected. According to airport staff, Yulong and Yangmiemie arrived just before dawn, both dressed simply, hoodies, caps, no designer flash. For the first time in months, there were no cameras chasing them. And for the first time in years, they walked through the terminal hand in hand without hesitation. A quiet witness recalled seeing them smile at each other over coffee near Gate 23. "They looked so at peace," the witness said. "Like they'd finally taken off the weight of the world." By the time the sun rose over Kyoto, the city's ancient temples glowed in amber light, and so began the trip that would redefine their bond. The hidden days in Kyoto. For 5 days, Yulong and Yangmiemie disappeared from public life entirely. No schedules. No stylists. Just two souls rediscovering the meaning of time. They were spotted near Kiyomizu-dera Temple, standing together under the scarlet maple trees, watching the city unfold below. A fan who happened to be there described the moment, "They weren't tourists, they were just two people in love." Mei Mei rested her head on his shoulder, and Yulong just stood there quietly, holding her hand. You could feel it, that kind of stillness that only exists when someone feels safe. Later, locals reported seeing them renting bicycles near Arashiyama Bamboo Grove, riding through the whispering green forest paths. There were no bodyguards, no makeup artists, only laughter echoing softly through the trees. They even stopped at a small riverside tea shop, the kind of place where no one asks who you are, only if you'd like more tea. Witnesses said Yulong took off his cap and smiled at the old lady behind the counter, introducing himself simply as Long. The couple shared a pot of matcha and 2 pieces of mochi cake. He was teasing her for eating too fast, the shop owner said with a laugh. And she said, "It's your fault for making me happy again." The private promise it was on the 4th day, under a full moon at Maruyama Park, that something truly unforgettable happened. The park was nearly empty that night. Cherry blossoms swayed in the faint November breeze, the pond rippling with reflections of lantern light. Yulong and Yangmiemie sat on a bench overlooking the water. She leaned into him, her hand resting over his. Witnesses nearby couldn't hear their conversation, but one photographer, who had recognized them from a distance but chose not to intrude, later described what he saw. They weren't posing. They weren't acting. It was real. He said something, and she began to cry, but it wasn't sadness. It was the kind of tears you shed when you finally let go of fear. Moments later, Yulong reached into his pocket and pulled out a small wooden box, not a ring, not a flashy gift, but something handmade. He opened it, revealing a tiny origami crane inside. Those close to the couple later revealed the truth. It was the same crane Mei Mei had folded for him years ago during their first drama together, a symbol of luck and loyalty. And now, he had carried it with him all this time. He handed it back to her and said quietly, "This time, it's my turn to make the wish come true." The promise under the cherry trees. Later that night, the two walked beneath the cherry blossoms. No cameras. No crew. Just the sound of petals falling and the faint hum of cicadas. Yangmiemie turned to him and whispered, "What if this peace doesn't last?" Yulong smiled, that calm, certain smile the world had seen so many times on screen. "Then we'll build it again," he said. "Even if we have to start over 1,000 times." She laughed through her tears, whispering, "That's why I chose you." And for a long, quiet moment, they stood there, framed by the soft pink bloom of Kyoto's night, two people who had lived through storms and still found each other standing.